What's up, guys? Cody with KAK Industry. I'm doing a little work with our 17556 caliber today. So I have a piece of brass here that I fired through my rifle. We have our new Ellie Wilson 17556 case gauges that we had made for us. So this is basically just going to be used to check, if the die is set up properly, in order to ensure that you're resizing your brass correctly. So this is pretty simple. Like I said before, this is fired. I deprime all my brass before I do any work, do any resizing or anything like that. If you want to do this all in one shot, that's perfectly fine. But just to give you an example here, so we have these two higher sections on the case gauge. This is going to be our maximum headspace. So we don't want the bottom of the case here, when inserted, to be above those. Minimum is the lower portion here. So you can see, if I can get it on camera here, you can see that this case is, it's been fired in the chamber. Obviously, it's not going to fit back in the chamber, so it needs to be resized, and you can see that it's sticking up a lot further than we want it to. So in our previous video, I have instructions on how to resize your brass. So this can also be used to check if you need to trim your brass. So that has minimum and maximums mirrored on the other side, on the bottom here. So you can see that this piece of brass here, it's not sticking out. It's just below flush, which is perfectly fine. We're not too worried about our neck length, unless obviously it's longer than it's supposed to be. And if it is longer than it's supposed to be, you can do it by feel. You can use a caliper. You can also use a straight edge. If you don't have a caliper or something like that, you can drag it across here and it'll catch. I mean, even using a fingernail will work just fine for that purpose. So I'm just going to run this piece of brass through my full length size die here, which has already been set up. If you want to see how to set these up, we have a previous video on that. And I'm going to clean the wax off here, just so I don't have any interference when I drop it back in the case gauge here. Alright, so I'm just going to plunk it right back in there. And now you can see, if I can get that lined up good, so we don't have that case head protruding over this bottom recess here as we did before. So that's something you can just feel. You can run your finger across it. It's exactly flush with this lower recess in the case gauge, and that's exactly where we want it to be if we are performing a full-length resize. You will notice after resizing your brass, sometimes your neck will grow, just because when you're resizing brass, that material has to go somewhere when the die is pressing it. More than likely, that material is going to get pushed upwards in the path of least resistance, and that's going to let you know if you need to trim your necks or not. So this neck is sticking above the minimum, just ever so slightly. I can just barely pick it up. I mean, my fingernail doesn't even catch on it. I can kind of feel it, but that's nothing that's nothing we need to worry about. If I wanted to just double check and make sure that I'm okay with case trim length, I can run a straight edge over the two high parts on either side here, and that's not catching it at all. So I know that I'm not above the maximum allowance for this brass to chamber reliably. So yeah, that's something I just wanted to go over quick. Again, we had these custom made by Ellie Wilson. They're for our 17556 caliber, and that's just a quick explanation on how you can use our custom case gauge to check your brass.